So, good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Briard. With me today, our moderator and web designer from Stock Marketing here with us today is Sydney Hoffman as well. Sydney will hopefully make sure our audio stays crisp and clear. And if you have any questions, Sydney will be the one in the right-hand side in the chat area to ask them to. She has been with us for quite some time, an incredible web designer, and can certainly keep me out of trouble on these webinars. So Sydney's just there on the right-hand side. Also today, if you can, it'd be wonderful for everybody to post their city and country they're in. We did this last week. It was wonderful to hear some people mention that they were from the UK or Venezuela with us. Not too many up potentially very early this morning in Vancouver, Los Angeles, but if you're with us from anywhere, it would be wonderful to see the city and country you're from. It's always nice to know who is with us and where they are. So thank you for joining us. This is our first week of 6 weeks and a bit of a webinar here. Something I believe is incredibly important for mining companies. As a former director for 2.5 years of a mining company here in Oakville, Ontario, and 22 years of online marketing background, building my first website in 1999 for a retail store I owned. There's nothing else really that mining companies require that's so important to mining companies to attract investors than your website. Again, something that is key for investors to learn about your company, somewhere to encompass everything from financial statements to executive bios, updated videos, investor presentations. In the next 15 minutes, we hope to cover it all. Make sure you know how important your website is. And next to your mining asset, as far as I'm concerned, it's your most important asset. So let's get started right away. These webinars are great because we time them at 15 minutes. You have lots of important things to do on a Tuesday morning. I am sure that you have emails to get to and phone calls to get to. So we like to keep these down to about 15 minutes. And then the floor is yours. I'll be here as long as you need us to be with any questions. Sydney are certainly well-versed in website design and anything to do with online marketing for public companies. So following the 15-minute chat, certainly head your way into the chat area. And we'd be happy to answer any questions. So we begin our series chatting about company websites. And as I mentioned, quite frankly, it's the most important asset you really have. Your website is where potential investors can have the opportunity to review your projects. They can read executive bios, access financials, sign up for newsletters, watch interviews. Absolutely everything to do with your public company should be right there on your website. Last week in sort of our intro video, we talked about some stats, some things that I think are really important to know why this is an important and an integral piece to your company, especially when it comes to applying to investors. So some key numbers that we know is important and there for you to recognize that you do need to pay attention to this area in your company. We know that Canadians now this year, following the pandemic, they're spending 6 hours online each day. So a quarter of our potential time during the day is spent online in front of a screen, whether it's a tablet, your mobile phone, or a desktop. This is incredibly important, and I'm going to tie it to something later on that we're going to chat about. 51% of use is on a mobile phone. Even more important than something we're going to talk about, dealing with being mobile friendly, making sure your website's visible from a phone. So we're going to tie that in together later. 51% of internet use is now on a mobile phone. And each year, stats on desktop use or laptop use are dwindling. So we're going to tie that into something key later on that we're going to bring up as well. 68% of Canadians are doing their banking and investing online, likely with a mobile phone through apps that are so easy. So of course, it's important that you have a great website. There they can go from your phone, looking at your website and click an app and purchase shares in your company. Never before has this been tied together so easily to convert an investor into a shareholder of your company. It can be done right there in seconds by opening up a browser and then opening up their investing app. So easy and so important that you have a great website. So let's dive right into what your website needs to attract investors today. And as I've been mentioning, mobile friendly. It's incredible how many companies forget this fact and never go and look at their website on their cell phone. And if you have your cell phone with you handy right now, go and do it. Type in your company domain name into the browser on your phone and see if it's easy to use. Likely it's not. We last year reviewed every mining company on the TSX Venture. CSE, you're doing great. But again, the CSE made up of mostly cannabis, blockchain, tech. They're making sure their websites are great and making sure their websites are mobile friendly. But if you're on the TSXV and you're in mining, 40% of websites we found were either not there, didn't work correctly, and were certainly not mobile friendly. So something I would like all of you to do, pull up your website on your cell phone and have a look and make sure it's easy to use, easy to maneuver page to page, easy to see any images, videos play. And if you want to dig even deeper, you can go to Google, type right into the Google search engine, mobile friendly test. An up will pop from Google and you'll type in a domain name and it'll tell you right there whether or not you have a mobile friendly website. Websites that are usually not mobile friendly are those ones where your neighbor's kid is, custom coded your website, and you wouldn't hire the, neighbor's kid to do your financial statements. Certainly hiring them to do your website or she to do your website, not always a great idea. So stay away from custom coding websites and always make sure that your website is mobile friendly. It's incredibly important, especially when we know investors can easily go and open up an app and purchase shares in your company. Second important thing that you need to make sure your website has is staying up to date. Many of the websites we went to visit at the TSX Venture mining companies, news releases from 3 years ago, or you've got a CEO that retired 2 years ago and his bio is still there. It's ridiculous, but it's happening. Make sure your website is up to date. Potential investors there, they want to see your most recent financial statements. They want to read last year's MIC. They want to check out, who the chairman and CEO are and make sure the bios are up to date. So these kind of things are key to company. Make sure your projects are up to date. Recent photos from the property, your share structure. Never confuse a shareholder and put up a 3-year-old share structure on your website. Make sure that doesn't exist. And if you've built your website on a decent enough software like WordPress, make sure somebody gets a live stock price on there. Make sure investors know then and there on your website, what are you trading at today? What's the volume? And this is potentially a good investment for them. So by keeping your website, you will always keep your potential investors correctly informed. Third piece of advice we have for great websites for investors: images and videos. You know that pictures speak 1,000 words. Videos tell even more of a story. Make sure anything to do with your property is there online. Any photos your team have taken, any videos your team have captured, drone footage, make sure it's there on your website. Make sure you build a gallery. You're going to end up with hundreds of photos potentially. Make sure they're all there and add a bit of text. Have some commentary. Here we are looking at the north end of the property where we found this, this, and this. Here's key people from your team, our CEO there on the property in Northern Ontario, in Bolivia, wherever you are. Make sure you're adding a bit of a story to it. Investors love a story, and great marketers know how to tell a story. Make sure your website has these images and videos that you've taken. And there's a great shot of Green River. Perry Little provided some fantastic photos when we built this website, and we made sure they were there front and center on this website for all potential investors to see. Number 4, collect email addresses. It's impossible to really connect with potential investors if you don't have any access to them. They've spent the time to go to your website. It's either been through word of mouth, they found out about your company, they read an article, a news release across their desk, something occurred and you get them on their website. Keep them around. Make sure you use software like MailChimp, Constant Contact. There's lots of great ones out there. And it'll build a box for your website and allow you right then and there to take the name and email address of potential investors. And then what to do with them once you have their permission? Well, it's a great way to update them on news releases the day they happen, updated investor presentations, changes to management or executive. So it's always a great way to capture their emails, hold it in a database. Company databases are so important for public companies. This is a great way to collect email addresses right on your website and keep them around in a database for use. Next up, contact details. A lot of people go to websites and they're looking for your email address to contact you right away, or a mailing address. They've got something to send you. Make sure this is content that's on every web page. Some web designers go and build a contact us page. Think about how big your fingers are and think about how small your phone is. It is so impossible to move page to page on a mobile phone. And we know investors, more than 51% of them are using a mobile phone. Make sure your content, your contact info is there on every page. I like to, and Sydney likes to, build websites, and we put them down in the footer. So this can be found on every page. Email sign up is down there. address, email address, phone number to the office is there, and make sure all this content is on every page. And also you can see here on Galway Metals, we included all their social links. Make sure they open up another window, and also links to their YouTube and podcasts that we even have for Galway. Everything is there on one page, and it's nice and easy and accessible for everybody to get to. And if they're just there on your website because they needed a phone number to make a call, make sure it's easy to be found. Don't leave it as something that's, you know what I mean, buried on a contact us page in small print and it's not clickable. Make sure these things are clickable. The email addresses and phones, especially from mobile, people can click a button and automatically call. Make sure your links are live and make sure your web designer have it accessible so people can call you right from clicking a link. And finally, hire professionals. There's my incredible team. So many websites that we've had to go and rebuild for companies were originally built by, as I said earlier, the neighbor's kid who headed off to college and is not accessible anymore to update the website. We had a horrible story, and I won't mention the company, but a website was built by a director's spouse, which ties up even more politics to the whole boardroom table. But the website was a disaster. I won't send you a link to it, but it kind of looked like a funeral home by the time it was finished. Now, did the management team really want to tell a director's spouse that the website wasn't what they wanted? No, the director's there in their company. They're proud to have them. But it was not a good idea. In fact, it was a terrible idea. Hire professionals. You have accountants doing your financial statements. You have great auditors. You have people on site on your projects taking care of your mining property. Don't leave your website to the kid down the street. Really don't. Find a professional, have them build it. WordPress. I always tell people build in WordPress. More than 60% of websites around the world are built in WordPress. Certainly it's free, costs money obviously to have the website built, but you can always find a WordPress developer going off and using some crazy code that somebody learned on some YouTube video. And of course they got it. It'll look great. Those websites never get finished. And if you never have access to them again, the people, good luck. You're never going to get the website updated. And two keys to websites that are really important, and it's a rule here at Stock Marketing. Our clients always own their domain name, and our clients always own their hosting. Why this is important? We've had more clients come to us and say, we need a new website, but our former web designer, well, he owns the domain name and he pays for the hosting, and we're at odds and they won't give us access. Make sure your company owns your domain name, renew it every year. In fact, for crying out loud, pay 10 years ahead the $15, $20 and cover it for a long period of time and never worry about losing a domain name. I worked for a company once. We lost the domain name. I just joined the company and didn't realize it was up for expiry. The competitor got a hold of it and, well, forwarded to not so nice of a website, an affiliate program, and let's just say it was quite embarrassing. Own your domain name. Do not let your web designers own it, and own your hosting. Make sure it's something that you're paying for. You wouldn't let somebody else lease your office space and put it in their name. Don't let somebody else own your hosting space either. Make sure it's in your company name. Make sure your credit card's on it, and make sure you have the logins and passwords. Never, ever end up in a situation where web designers left you, they've changed industry or they've gone out of business, and you have no access to your hosting. And man, don't lose access to your domain name. So incredible keys to websites. I think they're very important for mining companies, especially when we go and find 40% of mining companies on the TSX Venture either have a broken website, no website at all, or it's not mobile friendly. It's a disaster. We never want you to end up in this situation. We never want our clients to end up in a situation. And as far as I'm concerned, websites are the most important marketing tool your mining company can have for attracting investors. And look at that. We did it. 15 minutes, 10:15 now. Hopefully any of you have questions regarding your website, building a potential website, anything at all. Sydney and I are right here on the right-hand side in the chat area. We'd love to know your domain names. We've got a bunch of people here with us live. Type in your domain on the right-hand side. We'd love to go and check it out. We're always here to provide suggestions and anything you need to add to it. We'd love to give you some thoughts on how to make it more effective, more search engine optimizable, and provide some details on how you can certainly capture the attention of investors. NewAgeMetals.com, Sydney. I'm sure that's one you can go and take a look at this morning. Freed, if you want to leave us I will have your email address in the sign up. We'll definitely send you an email and let you know our thoughts on it. And if there's any suggestions we have on how we can make it better. Matthew, I know 40% of companies don't have a functioning website. It's scary. We kept track. We went to every mining company beginning in April of 2020 when we hit the gas pedal hard for online marketing for public companies. And it was shocking, absolutely shocking, to see how many websites were a disaster. Don't get me wrong, we picked up a lot as clients, but the reality is it seems to be the last thing that people are concerned about. And it's the most important thing for investors to have access to make an informed decision to become shareholders. Any other questions from anybody out there? I can't thank you enough, and I know Sydney can't thank you enough for joining us this morning. And we will be here. We'll be here for the next 5 weeks. We have some great topics to chat about. If you don't have a LinkedIn company page, well, you need one. Definitely. We know 800 million people now on LinkedIn. Average income for a LinkedIn user is just over $100,000 US. Please make sure you have a LinkedIn company page. And next Tuesday for 15 minutes, I'm going to tell you everything you need on one. Executive branding. You matter. If you're an executive of a public company, you matter. Investors are betting on the jockey just as much as they're betting on the horse. And LinkedIn is the way to tell your story. We're going to go through your LinkedIn personal profile, make sure everything is up to date, great photo, bio, education, experience, how to connect it to your company, and make sure that you're reposting company information. We'll go through that in week 3. Week 4, we're going to talk about the most important social platforms past LinkedIn that you need. We are definitely into Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'll tell you how to use all 3. They're each different in its own way, and each capture a different demographic. So we are going to have great content for all 3 and inform you on how you need to use them to capture the attention of investors. Where are we? Week 5, YouTube and podcasts. Podcasts, incredibly important right now. We're going to tell you how to go about making sure all the audio from your videos make its way to a podcast channel, Apple, Google, Spotify. It's a booming area. And while you're driving your car in the morning, you're jogging on a treadmill, you're walking the dog, you can have audio earphones in, and it allows you to have a chance to listen to videos and information on the audio out of all the public companies possible who go and build podcast channels. So we'll definitely go through that, give you some details. And then finally, we'll wrap it all up with email distribution and web notifications. Web notifications, something probably new to your vocabulary. We're going to inform you about that, and we'll dig a little deeper than we did today on email distribution. Anyway, thank you, everyone. We are grateful you joined us this morning. We're grateful that I can actually maintain this into 15 minutes and it doesn't turn into a 2-hour verbal spiel out of me, but we're happy to have all of you with us. Again, any questions, you can always reach Sydney and I, info@stockmarketing.ca with any questions at all. Visit our website. You can certainly see all the things that we are good at. And I'm always here. You can always book some time with me. I have a 20-minute calendar opening available at stockmarketing.ca/Scott. You can book the 20 minutes and we can chat about anything, your website, your social media, personal profile on LinkedIn. I'm here to answer any questions. And again, this is what we love to do. So we're here for all of you to help out in any way. Matthew, Fareed, everybody I see listed there, thank you for joining us. Sydney, as always, thank you for moderating and keeping track of everybody there on the right-hand side. We will see you next Tuesday morning, 10 a.m., and we will be talking about LinkedIn company pages. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you for being here, and have a great day.